There is a lot of thought that goes into what is going to be my livelihood. Will it be beneficial now and in the long run? I need to know uh, the possible potential of what I am doing. And when I say this with a lot of responsibility. Yesterday, uh, my building kids, some of them had their 10th and 12th results. Uh, One girl has scored 99.8%, which was what she had scored in her 10th as well. And my thoughts were, uh, is it a happy thing? Is it not? Uh, it is their choice. Obviously, there are a lot of different kind of people who make the world. Some people may want that route to happiness. Having said that, we are all trying to reach a certain part uh, where we want to ensure that we are taken care of. So there was this uh, very very wise saint called Sant Singh Miskin who used to give discourses in the Sikh community. Very widely known and extremely powerful orator, uh, and he would set up his ideas very well. Uh, he had once said uh, कि सारी लड़ाई रिजक की है. There is a line in the Guru Granth Sahib, सिर सिर रिजक संभाए ठाकुर काहे मन भव करिया. So effectively it means जो पैदा होता है उसके खाने का बंदोबस्त पहले ही है. तो बच्चा पैदा होने के पहले स्तन में दूध आ जाता है. अकॉर्डिंगली माने जब तुम्हारा खाना तुमसे पहले रेडी है. सो ठाकुर बीइंग द मास्टर ऑफ द यूनिवर्स और वट एवर यू वांट के, तो काहे मन भाव करिया मतलब वाई आर यू अफ्रेड. And yet that seems to be the moving thing that keeps happening. Then there is obviously the thought that has been running in our heads, and we've been speaking about it for a couple of minutes before we set up, is the Nishkama Karma. Something that I find is very, very liberating in the very little thing that I do in my life. Uh, Without exaggeration, I can say that it keeps me alive. Absolutely without exaggeration, because there is absolutely no conflict in my mind regarding that. Like if there is a 10 rupee vada pav that I'm going to feed somebody, or I am part of some projects, or any kindness I can show. There are people who live on the streets who live in my old colony where I go, and they land up talking to me, and off late I've realized I can't do anything for them, anything at all, not with the little money I can give them. Like, they are on the streets, and one of them particularly is a female who's been cheated out of her flat, and now she's losing her mind. So last few times I've been hearing her, I just stand there and hear. I don't even, the only thought running in my mind is I'm so helpless. And yet she goes away after like 3 minutes of speaking or something, where she feels that she's been heard, she's been acknowledged. And I find it not gratifying. Obviously, I still find myself being disturbed over her condition, but I find that's the utmost kindness I can do in the situation. And it is still better than my conflict for making money, getting my family responsibilities in order. How does one make these kind of difficult choices? Are these difficult in the first place? I am very clear that it fills me up, but then there is this whole setup of success does not include these things. Unless you are very big and then you are doing photo ops and stuff like that, or doing big stuff like the what the Saturday project is seen as, or what your thank you project was. But still, there is so much that can be done. The world is not really out of the problems yet.
Yeah, that's that's a good invocation, Bunty, and I thank you for gifting me yet again this opportunity to co-hold this space and co-create something maybe. Uh, I think there are a lot of things. So we on an ongoing basis have varied experiences inside of us. You know, there are tons and tons of experiences that we have. Even as I speak with you right now, uh, I'm also having my breakfast. I'm my body is doing some digestion. My body is doing some repair. So at the level of biology, there is a lot happening. I don't even have an access to it unless there is something that goes wrong and it sends me a signal to to the brain, and I understand it. And then between yesterday and today and tomorrow, there are things that could be playing inside at a slightly subconscious level of what happened yesterday and what's going to happen today and what's going to happen tomorrow. And then there are the overarching questions of future, how future is going to unfold. So all of these are playing inside of me, whether I want or not, to the extent that over a period of time, I develop practice to become aware of some of them, put some of them to rest, spark something in that are inert, and then create a balance. So that's one framing I would definitely like to use. Now, within that, there is this framing of what should I do in the day to day? What can I do today? And how does it connect with what I really want from life or what I need in life? Uh, I think these are really complex issues, and I know when the thing about using the word complex is you can shrug yourself from the responsibility of describing it sometimes, and by just saying it's very complex, or sometimes it's a way of inducing fear in people that तुमसे ना हो पाएगा. but but I'm actually now reminded of Gandhiji and his book. I'm parallelly reading his book on my experiments with the truth. I think what Gandhiji said perhaps was trying to hint at is this is your reality, this is your truth. Uh, and you need to do your own experiments and see what's working, what's not working. Because what may work for me may or may not work for somebody else. Of course, there are some things that could be common, borrowed, learned, transferred. Uh, so I think we are all dealing with this reality, व्यवहारिक world जो है, व्यवहारिक truths हैं. So there are three truths essentially as elucidated by Dr. Hemant Sena, a professor from Kurukshetra University who passed away a few years back. तो उन्होंने कहा तीन तरह के सत्य हैं, प्रतिभासित सत्य, व्यवहारिक सत्य एंड परमार्थिक सत्य. सो प्रतिभासित जो है ना बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग है. प्रतिभा से बनता है वो प्रतिभा. प्रतिभासित है वो आपका पर्सनल ट्रूथ है, पर आपका पर्सनल ट्रूथ आपकी प्रतिभा पे निर्भर करता है. आप कितना उसमें चर्न किए हैं ताकि वो आप उसको देख पाए, उस ट्रूथ को देख पाए. एंड दैट ट्रूथ में नॉट बी अ शेयर्ड ट्रूथ विच इज व्हाट द सोशल ट्रूथ इज. व्यवहारिक सत्य,
Okay.
उसमें आदान प्रदान करना है हमको चीजों का, ओपिनियंस का, करेंसीज का, रिसोर्सेस का, opportunities ka. And then there is a paramarthic truth where, it's very, I think it's not possible to describe them in words and transfer that learning to somebody else. वो आपको जब आएगा तब आएगा और उससे आप जो करेंगे वो आप करेंगे. तो मुझे लगता है कि life then becomes this journey of constantly becoming aware of how is this connecting with each other, the pratibhasit satya, the vyavharik satya and the paramarthik satya. And you're constantly trying to create some kind of alignment between the three so that you have some kind of balance in life or some kind of anchor in life. But by the very definition, it's not easy. You you may want to do some things very, very honestly in the world, and the world may not respond to you because you're honest. So, and yet you'll have to integrate it in the manner that you can, which is your pratibha. So your pratibha to integrate all kinds of social truth inside and yet appear again back in the society with creativity, with perseverance, with humanness is what matters broadly. Uh, and that may yield certain results to you sometimes in form of money, recognition, support, and sometimes it may not. I'm also finally, and this is going to be my last statement. I am in the book that we are currently writing. Uh, there's this Professor Trilochan Sastry, who was the Dean of IIM Bangalore, and he's also the guy behind the ADR, the Association for Democratic Reforms. You know, the organization that is challenging all kinds of stupidity that is happening uh, against democracy. So I remember him being called at a function where he was to speak about volunteerism. And he says a lot of people feel कि सेवा करना तो बहुत easy है, खड़े हो जाओ जाओ करो. He says it's actually more difficult because आप randomly तो कर सकते हैं. उसको sustained way में करने के लिए you'll have to have a very different spine, different sacrifice, different perseverance. And not a lot of people are able to do it. So I don't know with this submission, have I helped or not, but these are some initial thoughts that I come to me. There are a few things that I can just add if you're okay. Should I?
Please do.
Okay. So, on an ongoing basis, there are some things happening and some things not happening around us, to us, in the society at large. कुछ हो रहा है, कुछ नहीं हो रहा है. और आप चाहते हैं कि जो हो रहा है वो ना हो. कई बार आप चाह रहे हो कि जो नहीं हो रहा है वो हो, और कई बार आप चाह रहे हो जो हो रहा है वो अच्छा हो रहा है और जो नहीं हो रहा है वो भी अच्छा हो रहा है. राइट. सो अगेन ब्रिंगिंग दोस 2 by 2, आई थिंक हमारा माइंड ना समाओ, मुझे ऐसा लगता है हम एवोल्यूशन के वहां पे पहुंच गए हैं जहां पे हमको अपनी भाषा चेंज करनी पड़ेगी थोड़ी. जहां पे ये क्वाड्रेंट्स अगर नहीं देखेंगे हम लोग एक दूसरे के लिए और खुद के लिए एक्सीडेंट्स क्रिएट करेंगे, क्योंकि हम रियलिटी को परसीव नहीं कर पा रहे हैं. फिर जैसे ये बात निकल के आई इस कॉन्वर्सेशन में कि कुछ हो रहा है और कुछ नहीं हो रहा है, और उसमें से कुछ आप चाह रहे हैं कि सही हो रहा है, ये तो जो हो रहा है और नहीं हो रहा है वो सही हो रहा है, और कुछ आप चाह रहे हो नहीं नहीं ये जो हो रहा है ये नहीं होना चाहिए, और जो नहीं हो रहा है वो होना चाहिए. राइट. बट ये चारों एक साथ नहीं आ पाते क्योंकि भाषा आपको देती नहीं वो जगह. भाषा आपको ले जाती है एक जगह. राइट. तो एक तो हमको अपनी थोड़ी सी इस तरह की परसेप्शन, कंसेप्शन, एक्सचेंज लैंग्वेज में मुझे लगता है फिर से किंडरगार्टन ज्वाइन करना पड़ेगा, भाषा को लेके, कॉन्सेप्ट्स को लेके. और उसके साथ साथ ही हम लोगों को डेली काम भी करना है, मतलब एज इफ वी आर अ ग्रेजुएट ऑफ सम प्लेस. एंड लास्ट पॉइंट इसमें ये है कि देखिए आज की तारीख में, आज का जो दिन है मेरे पास, आपके पास, उसमें मैं गाजा की भी सोच सकता हूँ, मैं बंगाल इलेक्शन की भी सोच सकता हूँ, मैं कुछ भी सोच सकता हूँ. मतलब जो मुझे अगर कंसर्न है, मेरे सर्कल में आया है, मेरे फीड में आया है, मेरे बातों में लोगों से आया है. पर द क्वेश्चन आई हैव टू आस्क इज व्हाट डिफरेंस कैन आई मेक टू समवन इफ आई कैन मेक. सो हमारे पास ना हमेशा एक स्पेक्ट्रम रहता है. जैसे आपने उन लेडी की बात की जो अपना फ्लैट छीन गया उनका, एंड आप हेल्पलेस फील कर रहे हैं. तो अगर एक स्पेक्ट्रम देखें कि देयर आर सम थिंग्स वेयर यू फील हेल्पलेस एंड होपलेस,
जी.
और दूसरा एक्सट्रीम है सम थिंग्स यू कैन डू, और वहां पे होप का कोई है ही नहीं, आप कर सकते हैं. राइट. तो आपके पास एक स्पेक्ट्रम है. अब हमको देखना है हम अपना पूरा दिन कहाँ लगा रहे हैं, यहाँ लगा रहे हैं या यहाँ लगा रहे हैं. यहाँ अगर लगा रहे हैं तो कुछ करते रहिए आप, और हो सकता है यू आर कॉन्ट्रीब्यूटिंग टू दैट स्टारफिश, यू पुटिंग इट बैक इन द ओशन, एंड उसकी लाइफ में आप डिफरेंस क्रिएट कर रहे हैं. बाकी आप छोड़ दीजिए.
हाँ, बहुत खूबसूरत जवाब था, बहुत बड़ा जवाब था. कई सवाल आके चले गए, बट
सॉरी.
नहीं नहीं कोई बात नहीं, बहुत ही मज़ा आया. हाँ, क्योंकि सारी चीज़ें बहुत ही गहराई से आपने कही है, बहुत जिम्मेदारी से कही है. तो आई फेल्ट कि बहुत सारी जगह में देयर इज़ अ पोटेंशियल टू फॉर अ क्वेश्चन टू अराइज. बट एक बेस क्वेश्चन था. आपने जब ये तीनों तरह के सत्य बताए, और हमारा उसमें, आई एम सेइंग द वर्ड रोल बट इट क्रिएट्स अ कॉन्फ्लिक्ट विद माय क्वेश्चन इटसेल्फ, बट और कोई शब्द नहीं है, तो हमारा उसमें योगदान या रोल जो है, अ, सबसे पहला आंसर जो आपने पहले क्वेश्चन का दिया था कि हमारे अंदर कुछ प्रक्रियाएं चल रही हैं जो हम जानते भी नहीं कि चल रही हैं। मैंने इस वक्त जैसे आप ब्रेकफास्ट कर रहे थे, मैंने चाय पी और डाइजेशन कुछ कर रहा होगा, उसका कुछ नहीं कर रहा होगा, कुछ एसिडिटी क्रिएट कर रहा होगा या नहीं कर रहा होगा। हम तो सिर्फ वो जब हो जाता है उसके बाद उसके रेसिपिएंट हैं, तो हमको अरे मुझे ये तकलीफ हुई या ये आंसर नहीं है उसका। आई थिंक लास्ट पॉडकास्ट में रूपा के साथ कन्वर्सेशन थी, उन्होंने कहा था कि एज अ मेडिकल प्रोफेशनल दे रियलाइज ओनली द एब्सेंस ऑफ a thing, and that leads them to the presence of what should have been. So what is considered natural is only understood when the unnatural has happened. Unnatural being a strong term obviously, but something uh, which is not the normal course of things. मेरा आपको सवाल है इसमें, आपने डेमोक्रेसी की भी बात कही, तो एक अंडरलाइन क्वेश्चन मुझे आ रहा है कि डू वी really have the power to decide, considering that we are so much a creation of our whims and fancies and moods and uh, so on and so forth. माने जो क्वाड्रेंट बनाने के लिए भी डिसीजन लेना है, उसके पीछे की जो ये गहराई वाली चीज चल रही है, what you can call for now the ultimate reality, but I will not want to burden it with that because obviously depth की बात हो नहीं रही है। बट फर्स्ट लेयर की बात करें तो हमारे, मैं और आप बात कर रहे हैं, मेरा गला चल रहा है, आवाज़ निकल रहा है, हम दोनों को हिंदी आ रही है, हम दोनों बात कर पा रहे हैं, ये माइक चल रहा है, ये इंटरनेट कनेक्शन चालू है, ये सारी चीज़ें तो हम लोग बाय डिफ़ॉल्ट एक्सेप्ट कर ही रहे हैं कि ये होगा ही। तो बट उनमें मेरा कोई व्यक्तिगत हाथ नहीं है। I am just the recipient of so much goodness in every moment that allows my normal to stay normal for whatever period it is normal. मतलब I have a deeper question sometimes with myself कि what is abnormal में also be normal is just मुझे नहीं पसंद है उस समय, तो मैं उसको बोलूँ अरे ये हेमंत तो हमेशा ऐसे बात करता था, आज ऐसा क्यों कर रहा है, कहाँ है उसके डीप आंसर, तुमने ये बनाया है दृष्टिकोण के ऐसा ही होगा, but he is a human being, he may be going through 16 different things. So that is not very important to us in terms of uh, follow, falling back upon a judgment or whatever I say. उस एरिया को, and I am saying this again with lot of responsibility because I understand there is always a responsibility that you got to take. You can't say मुझे हो रहा है तो अभी रास्ते में चल रहे हो, एक्सीडेंट होने का चांस है, तुम कॉन्शियसली क्रॉस कर ही देते हो ना रोड। अगर कुछ भी होने वाला होता तो तुम बस के आगे खड़े हो जाते, तो ऐसे नहीं करते हो। सो देर इज समथिंग वर्किंग, बट माई पॉइंट इज मोर इन दैट फ्लक्स ऑफ दैट थिंग्स हैपन टू मी एंड आई मेक समथिंग हैपन। इसको आप कैसे देखते हो? बिकॉज एंड रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी के दृष्टिकोण से आपने शायद एक लाइन में थोड़ा सा आंसर दिया, कहीं पे आप एकदम होपलेस हो और कहीं पे आप कुछ कर सकते हो, तो वेयर डू यू चूज टू बी ऑन द स्पेक्ट्रम? माई पॉइंट इज उस चॉइस के नीचे भी कुछ और फंडामेंटल समझने की जरूरत है, या एम आई बीइंग अ फिलोसोफर फॉर नो रीजन एट ऑल? मैंने वो मेरे फेवरेट कैरेक्टर थे वाइटल स्टैटिस्टिक्स इन एस्ट्रिक्स कॉमिक्स, हु ऑलवेज वंडर्ड व्हाट इफ द स्काई वर टू फॉल ऑन आवर हेड्स। तो अभी ये फिलोसॉफी का तो कोई अंत ही नहीं है ना, माने ऐसा सोचने बैठे हो तो फिर रोज कुछ ना कुछ होगा। बट आप क्या कहना चाहेंगे ये वाले स्पेस के बारे में? आई होप आई वॉज क्लियर बिकॉज देर इज नो क्लियर क्वेश्चन देर, बट आई एम वंडरिंग इन दैट स्पेस हाउ डू डिसीजंस गेट मेड एंड व्हाट इज बिहाइंड देम?
आई थिंक इसका एक पहलू तो ये है बंटी की, there is the space of thoughtless action and there is a space of actionless thoughts.
Okay.
Thoughtless actions are you just keep doing, you don't think about it at all. But वो दोनों कैटेगरी के हो सकते हैं, अच्छे भी हो सकते हैं और बुरे भी हो सकते हैं. And there can be a category of actionless thoughts. वो भी अच्छे हो सकते हैं, बुरे भी हो सकते हैं. एग्जाम्पल के तौर पे आप किसी का मर्डर करने के बारे में सोचे बट उस पर एक्ट ना करें, तो अच्छा हुआ आपने नहीं किया, मतलब अंडर सर्टेन सर्कमस्टेंसेस. तो इट्स एन एक्शनलेस थॉट. बहुत थॉट आया उसको हार्म करने का, तो आपने नहीं किया. दोज आर. बट कभी कभी वो बहुत ही ज्यादा प्रोक्रेस्टिनेट करते हैं, बहुत ओवर थिंकिंग करते हैं किसी चीज के बारे में, तो ब्रेन आपकी कंज्यूम कर लेता है पूरी एनर्जी, बॉडी ड्रेन हो गई. अब आपके पास उस दिन आपने कुछ एक्शन ही नहीं किया बिकॉज आप थिंकिंग मोड में चले गए. कुछ दिन करें आप, ठीक है, बट ये अगर क्रॉनिक हो जाए आपका और आप ये विवेक में ना देख पाए कि आपके एक्शनलेस थॉट्स कहाँ पे लेके जा रहे हैं और थॉटलेस एक्शंस कहाँ लेके जा रहे हैं आपकी लाइफ में, देन आई थिंक यू नीड हेल्प, और you should be given help. You as in anybody, including me.
Yeah.
दूसरा मुझे याद आ रहा है कि एक जैक कॉनफील्ड नाम के एक बंदे हैं. आई थिंक 60-70 के दशक में बहुत सारे अमेरिका से, यूरोप से लोग इंडिया में आए और इंडिया के बहुत सारे जो मास्टर्स थे, प्लेसेस ऑफ प्रैक्टिसेस एंड बिलीफ सिस्टम्स थे, वहां विजिट किया और फिर अपने अपने देशों में जाके उन्होंने अपने तरीके से उसको प्रेजेंट किया और वो प्रैक्टिसेस चलाए. उनमें एक शख्स है, उनका नाम है जैक कॉनफील्ड. तो जैक कॉनफील्ड की एक डिस्कोर्स है, उसमें उन्होंने ना बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग कहानी कही कुछ नन्स के बारे में जिनको प्रिजनर बना के काफी सालों तक रखा गया. जब वो निकल के आए प्रिजनर, एज अ प्रिजनर, जब वो बाहर निकल के आए, जो नन्स थे, कैथलिक नन्स थे, तो उन्होंने कहा कि जब कुछ नहीं था करने के लिए, जब सारी होप्स खत्म हो गई थी, they started working inwards and the only thing they were working is how can I create forgiveness, how can I create hope. I think hope in the darkest of the time is not something which is visible. It's a duty. It's a duty that we need to perform inwards and outwards. If there is nothing available outwards to perform hope as a duty, I think we need to perform it inwards and to keep churning and churning, because you don't know when you will get a window to break free from this darkness and shine, even if to shine for a spark, as a spark, and then just go back, or just beam out and flood the world with positivity. You don't know when that moment is going to come, but till that time you'll need to have that reservoir that you can create for that moment to happen in life. But since we are all not prisoners today, none of us are in prison except we've created one for ourselves, then we can always go out and do something, bring a smile to somebody's face, thank somebody, hold the door if somebody is passing through, lift में उनको lift के लिए door रोक दिए उनके लिए, किसी को just give, instead of advising and giving opinions, सुन के बस चले गए. तो ये छोटी 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 चीजें हम लोग कर सकते हैं. These are all, I think, hope, the drops of hope that we need to fill in the ocean of hope that might be drying up.
Wow. You have answered one question that I had not understood. I had the answer. So let me first thank you for it, and I'll tell you what is that. So Nelson Mandela was very much a fan of Gandhi's work and very inspired by what he did. And obviously, all of us are very aware of the fact that he did live up to Gandhi's ideals, at least when he came out, whatever we understood. It's fairly scarce because the world presents negative news more than the positive. But whatever little we could hear then or saw, just a few days back, I had access to something which reminded me that Mandela had called his prison guard to his presidential ceremony. Um, and I thought I always understood this. Um, uh, but you mentioned the word churning somewhere. For the first time, I disassociated from the Gandhi's thoughts. All of us talk about Gandhi, and to some level, he's influenced, or I think positively or negatively, he's influenced everyone in the 20th century and beyond in a very, very fundamental way. Anybody who's obviously got access to, there was a person called Gandhi and what he did. I, I myself cannot, under the risk of being fairly simple, say that I understand what he did or agree with everything. There are a lot of things, doubts in my mind, uh, and at times I don't feel uh, I'm being objective about my view. Having said that, the churning for 25 years and the context of hope that you've given for the first time, I personally live with the possibility that there is no hope. You've got to continue doing all the time, because if you don't, then there is nothing being done. Uh, and I thought hope is a very fragile force in that sense. Of course, one can claim that it keeps you light and you can work better if you have hope. But to me, it's fairly a practical thing. So if I'm hungry, I make food for myself and I eat. Only then my hunger will be resolved. There is no ambiguity in my mind about that. Uh, if I let go of myself in a gradual manner and I become more, quote unquote, live the holy life a little more and trust the universe. Yes, it might even work that somebody will come and feed me or not feed me, and I'm happy with that. But it's a very rare category of beings and understanding that they may have. So I don't want to get there. I am talking sheerly with whatever levels of problems that one can see and what one does with it. So in that context, I have to thank you for bringing hope in a very specific way. It's no longer one, because hope gets, in my head, it used to get classified as one more emotion. You can keep hoping, okay, I'm going to get, like I said, results था कल तो 90% आ जाएगा ना 20% आएगा ना, मैं तो फेल ही होऊंगा, मैं तो पास ही होऊंगा, मैं तो इतना लाऊंगा, अरे मैंने पढ़ाई नहीं किया तो भी लास्ट टाइम तो आ गया था. And so it gets classified as a story, as a fragility. Fragility is okay, man. Fragility, though I think everything is fragile, including our convictions, even if they are very hard won and really there, because the world itself is being made and dissipating. Is there an active way one can simplify this entire thing that you've spoken of so far? You did say about that spectrum, what I choose to do or whether I choose to be hopeless. I would find that I am in both places at once very often, especially with regard to the conflicts in the world. Earlier, so there are days when I'm fearful. I don't want to post something on Facebook that would get me arrested at some point. I feel that fear. It's an honest fear. Some days I don't care. I think that is the right thing to be said. I need to, even if it's a forward, I may agree with it fully and I say, yeah, this puts in context what I've been wanting to say or what I feel about a subject. And yet, very often I find both sides are overreaching. Then there is that little thing that I keep thinking, okay, I have my life here and I have this control on these things. I can hold the elevator door, I can listen to someone, I can arrange for the food for somebody, and just wait, because I don't, so I have never used the word hope in that, in my head. There is no hope. There is only kindness, kindness, kindness. Whatever can you do, can you just be there for a moment? It doesn't take away the problem that I have, so-called world war, creating a false scarcity, adding to somebody's coffers and creating a lot of problems for us. artificial intelligence and what is it going to happen tomorrow. Tens of thousands of things that the world is selling to us all the time, and we are buying into it. I am buying into it. How does one use all of these varied sources to continue on the path? Because these are not small things. So I just need to like one reel on Instagram and I find hundreds of reels within the next 2 days in the same topic, and it clearly, so it may have been a passing thought. So, and say cutting of trees, I am quite disturbed by it. So I just like one post, and suddenly I have been shown every part of the country and every part of the world with this kind of problem. After 2 days, I find I am very uh, overwhelmed with that information, as if that is the only thing in the world. Uh, I hope I am making the point clear, because influx of information makes me biased towards my own view. And while it may not be that I am wrong in the first place, but balance of things is required. How do you reach that balance? How do you take calculated calls? What is it that one constantly does? Please use the social media example very specifically, because it is happening faster than any of us realize. That may include my 75 plus mother who sees YouTube for recipe videos. So sometimes we are having a not so happy conversation about something, and in the middle of all of that, because the recipe has been shown, so the whole thing gets dissipated. So the importance of the conversation is lost. How do you see this? As a person who's constantly studying a lot of things, and also from a quote unquote leadership role, because you are a little distanced from the immediacy of the problem because you've chosen to, comparatively. I'm not saying you are not aware of what is happening, but you may have a lot of other work to do, writing the book and other things that you do with your life. How do you ensure that this hope is actively cultivated within you? Is there anything like that, or is it luck by chance that you have this and so you are? I'm sorry, I don't mean to distrust your process, but I want to ask, because sometimes we need to know, okay, we are just lucky that we have this mind and this kind of mindset.
A couple of things come to mind. Um, there's a poem that happened to me through me decade back. खुदी से बेखुदी का सफर भला बया हुआ है कभी, ये वो चौराहा है जो खुद से आएगा, तुम खुद से आओगे.
Can you repeat the last line, please?
खुदी से बेखुदी का सफर भला बया हुआ है कभी, ये वो चौराहा है जो खुद से आएगा, तुम खुद से आओगे. और इसी का एक दूसरा एक सिमिलर है कि हक से नाहक का सफर कभी भला बया हुआ है कभी, हक से नाहक का सफर भला बया हुआ है कभी, ये वो भस्म है जो खुद से रमेगी, तुम खुद से रमोगे. So there is the element of the grace that I feel, acknowledge genuinely, experientially, and there is the field of tapasya that we have to contribute for that yagya to happen. Both have to come together. And I can do my bit. Second, I remember interviewing Prasad Kaipaji. He's a well-renowned guy who was a very successful Silicon Valley coach to a lot of CXOs. Place of the mecca of technology, the mecca of social media network. And these very executives who would design behaviors for the world would find it difficult to design their own behaviors. Hence, they would seek the help of coach like Prasad Kaipaji. And he realized, I mean, one of the things that so I had actually put up a question to him that, Prasadji, you've had workshops and trained 50,000 people and had been very intense coach to 120 CXOs of very renowned companies, Silicon Valley companies. If you were to look at one thing that could have been the most fundamental and the shifts in them could help people, what is that one thing? And his very prompt answer was self-awareness. Uh, Self-awareness in absolute, practicality at this very moment would mean, am I watchful of the flow of my words, the landing of the, am I gathering from you what is the response that I'm getting in terms of your gestures? Am I micro-tuning my uh, meanings, my choice of words, my tonality, speed or slowness of speech? Am I aware in this moment what the little toe finger is doing if I want to? Am I aware how emotions are rising and falling at this moment? And how are they contributing to this conversation? Uh, am I able to become aware of my kleshas? Avidya, asmita, rag, dvesh, abhinivesh. Avidya would be half knowledge, partial knowledge, or the illusion of knowing. Asmita is a false sense of ego that can easily creep into this conversation. Rag is, what am I really desiring out of this conversation? Am I looking for that nod that somebody will give once the person will look at the video? Or is it really that I want to genuinely share something, uh, as if the universe is wanting to make me as a medium for sharing? Dvesh is if somebody else has an insight better than I do, if somebody has answered this very question much better than I could do. What is the emotion that I can carry? Or, am I getting afraid of, how this answer will land? Am I insecure about the landing of this answer to different people? Am I insecure that if there are people who will give feedback to me or on the channel, if that feedback is a criticism of me, or this guy is too abstract, this guy is too rambling, this guy is just stupid, he doesn't know anything, or anything that people may want to do. How do I integrate that in my life? How do I take that, some of them, and see them, truly see them? So, am I aware of my klesha in this moment, and then this moment, and then this moment? And meanwhile, the mind has wandered. I bring it back. Am I aware of klesha in this moment? In this moment, again, the mind has wandered. Bring it back. Am I aware of Resha's this moment? So finally, I think there are Prasad Kaipaji had actually also used an interesting verse. I think from I think Bhaja Govindam or some other. So it goes like this: Satsangatve nisangatvam, nisangatve nischalatatvam, nischalatatve nirmohatvam, nirmohatve जीवन मुक्ति ही. Basically, सत्संगत्व निसंगत्व का मेरी संगत क्या है, मैं किन की संगत में रहता हूं. तो मोबाइल मेरी संगत है. अगर मेरी संगत खराब है और मेरे अंदर विवेक नहीं है, प्रैक्टिस नहीं है, तो वो मुझे खराब कर सकती है. तो इंसान भी संगत है, क्या देख रहा हूं मैं वो भी संगत है. मेरी संगत क्या है पूरे दिन. और संगत का मतलब ये नहीं है कि नेगेटिविटी को पूरी तरह से निकाल दे, बिकॉज आप फिर एक फॉल्स पॉजिटिविज्म में जी रहे. So I think positive and negative that we consider, first of all, are not in of themselves good or bad. It depends on how you are able to deal with it. मैं पॉजिटिव में ओवरवेल्म भी हो सकता हूँ एंड देन ओवरली एंथुजियास्टिक होकर भी कूद सकता हूँ बिल्डिंग से, और नेगेटिव में भी कूद सकता हूँ बिल्डिंग से, राइट? बिकॉज मेरा विवेक नहीं है, मेरी बॉडी पे कंट्रोल नहीं है, इमोशंस पे नहीं है. तो सो दैट कोट इज अ थिंग कि अगर मेरी संगत सही होगी तो मेरी निसंगति जो है उसको ध्यान रख पाऊंगा. जब निसंगति मेरी ठीक रहेगी तो मेरी जो चंचल है ना, मेरा मन चंचल है, यहाँ वहां भाग रहा है, स्टिक कर जाता है सेंसरी स्टिमुलाई पे. वायरल मतलब बेसिकली इफ द वर्ल्ड इज गोइंग बॉन्कर्स ऑन वायरल, आई डोंट थिंक इट्स अ थिंग टू सेलिब्रेट Not on all occasions, of course. But it means that we don't have vivek over our senses. Then things are becoming viral in the shortest possible span. I'm not saying all viral are bad. Again, there are some things that have to be viral and people have to acknowledge them. But if it comes from the space of vivek and viral, it's okay. But if it's not vivek and becoming viral, and ठीक है आपको उससे कुछ immediate action से reactions मिल जाएंगे लोगों के, but then we'll be only more and more creating an inter-reaction world, not an interaction world. I don't think we are living in an interactive world. We are living in an inter-reactive world. One person reacting to another person's reaction to another person's reaction to it. There's no pit stop that we are able to create. And finally, I think there is this conversation between Arjuna and Krishna. And Arjuna is saying exactly this thing. Chanchala hi mana Krishna. Krishna. He's saying, Man, bahut chanchal hai, kya kare uska? And remember, Arjun is not your everyday. He's been trained and trained over the years by so many masters. He's won so many wars. He's been successful as well as some failures. And this person standing on the battlefield is saying this. So I think that should speak to us that the thing we are dealing with is not so simple, not so easy that suddenly it's not a switch. तो कृष्णा का जो जवाब है उसके बाद बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग है, जिसका एक वर्ष है, अभ्यासेन तो कौनते है, आप अभ्यास करते रहिए। जिस चीज का आप अभ्यास करेंगे वो ग्रो करने की संभावना आपके अंदर बढ़ जाएगी। तो अगर आपको मोबाइल की संगति से दिक्कत है, मुझे अगर दिक्कत ही हो रही है, तो पहले सेल्फ अवेयरनेस आना चाहिए हो रही है, उसके बाद उसको देखना चाहिए कि ये संगत मेरी थोड़ी सी ठीक करनी है मुझे, और फिर अभ्यास करना है मुझे, और इसको कंटिन्यूअसली चर्न करना है।
Yes.
That's maybe an oversimplified answer, but yeah.
No, I think it's something that I've been doing. I didn't give it the kind of importance that you've been talking about. I'm being very mindful most times. It's only in the last couple of days that I realized that I've been watching this and it has been top of the mind, and I was thinking, where did this subject come from? Because I'm very, very careful of not to become an activist on everything that I see. I see it as a problem because again, it's the same thing that you become quickly judgmental that the other side is wrong, and so yesterday itself there was a not a political debate really. It was hardly one line exchange with another friend who's a senior friend. And while I was very quick to jump to my point of view, later after that one line exchange, there were a couple of us together and it just dissolved. We were having lunch together and I was feeling bad about bringing it up because I realized that we've already decided what we want to, which side we want to favor. And I felt that what a waste of time it is because I will not be able to convince him, neither will he be able to convince me. And it is not necessary that we be convinced. And then that also set me thinking on the algorithm that I keep seeing, and I've been mindful about some stuff, and yet it is, well, all the days that I watched it is all inside. So that can't be wished away. Suddenly one fine day you get up and you are the wisest person and you have a objective point of view on any subject for that matter. But you can calm down a bit, and because there is distance you can relook at it and genuinely think if there is merit into following only what everybody else is saying, or I have any of my own thoughts, if there are any own anywhere in the world, because something or the other has to be connected, interconnected, interresponsive, interactive, interreactive, a lot of things, a lot of things. Um, I think it's a beautiful thing because the democracy of choosing still lies with me all the time. Things may happen to me. I am not the originator of my thoughts. At this moment, I am not, obviously, because I am just reaping in whatever I may have thought earlier, or connection or disconnection with it. Yet there is a choice that I allow the thought to be without feeling too reactive to it, even if it is my own thought about something. And that is what I think you mean by Vivek, is this constant observing, non-judgmental as often as possible, because I don't think it's, in my case, it's absolutely possible, but it gets better. So yesterday when I thought about this, these kind of exchanges have happened with that person earlier, but I have never gone back and thought that I should be easygoing about it, just let it go. And I tried to uh, ease it down. I had all other kinds of conversation, asked him about himself and what he's done, his story. All of us like to talk about ourselves and our stories, and it kind of eased it a bit, although he was quieter than before, and we were the only two left from that group for a while. And it was a little peaceful, yet not peaceful for me, because I was trying to see this, and yet the whole thing was in my head, and obviously his head as well. Uh, I think your answer is a very good answer, because Sangat is generally seen as human uh, and social interaction, but there are so many other pieces of media talking to us all the time. The outdoor, uh, the mobile phone, the newspapers, the television, the conversations that we overhear in an elevator or on the train or the bus, and we are just forming these as the basis of some good or bad that we think is happening, without understanding context or without even pausing to reflect. Uh, I am done with the questions given the time that we had spoken about. Uh, do you want to make a few points, because you were writing down something? I would want to hear them, please.
Nothing in particular except that uh, there is the element of like adaptive judgment and maladaptive judgment, and adaptive non-judgment and maladaptive non-judgment. And it's connected to an adaptive judgment is, I care for you. I'm able to see something and I want to share that with you because I believe truly that you could perhaps benefit from it. Um, but suppose your approach to an adaptive judgment doesn't mean that the other person will take it in the right spirit. कबीर जी का वो जो दोहा है कि गुरु कुम्हार शीश कुम है गड़गड़ काढ़े खोट अंदर सहार दे बाहर बाहे चोट. तो मुझे लगता है गुरु इज नॉट जस्ट सुपीरियर इंफीरियर. गुरु, आई थिंक गुरु फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल इज गुरुत्व, which is in the moment who can be the guru. And what is guru? Guru is somebody who is able to remove the darkness or help see better, help see clearly. तो कोई भी गुरु हो सकता है, चीजें भी गुरु हो सकती है, आप भी हो सकते हैं, कोई भी हो सकता है. पर अच्छा मतलब अच्छा गुरु, सच्चा गुरु का काम ये है कि वो सिर्फ एक नहीं करेगा, सिर्फ चोट नहीं मारेगा उसको हर बार, उसको सहारा भी देगा. और अच्छा गुरु ये भी नहीं करेगा हमेशा सहारा दे और चोट नहीं मारे, पर दोनों करते करते वो देखे कि घड़ा बन रहा है कि नहीं. अगर घड़ा नहीं बन रहा है और फिर चोटें ही लग रही है, सहारा बन रहा है, तब तो फिर आप मतलब ठीक है, आप कुम्हार तो नहीं है फिर, और ना ही आप गुरु है. और अनफॉर्चुनेटली इसका प्रॉब्लम क्या है कि घड़ा तो आपको बनते दिख जाता है, पर ह्यूमन घड़ा जो है वो खुद का घड़ा और दूसरे का घड़ा एकदम इतने आसानी से दिखता नहीं, और वो बनते रहेगा अंत तक, लास्ट ब्रेथ तक वो घड़ा बनते रहेगा. तो सो दिस वाज द ओनली थिंग एंड या आई थिंक नथिंग एल्स.
Uh, it's been a wonderful conversation on Nishkam Karma, because we've actually talked a lot about uh, what is a karma and what kind of karmas are we forming, what is the depth of uh, thought that leads to that karma, responsive, reactive, uh, or what is even sometimes perceived as active and may not be so. Uh, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद हेमंत, और आप हमेशा अवेलेबल होते हैं, ये चीज़ मुझे बहुत श्योर रहता है. आई जस्ट थिंक वी आर मोनोपोलाइजिंग द वर्कशॉप समटाइम्स, and yet it is a joy to be speaking to you week after week, so often on topics which are which are mandatory for everyone to think of. I would think at least to reflect on them. And luckily, we are both blessed to have the minds that we have and the time that we have, and the blessings of grace, like you said, wherever it comes in and it helps us get the thought and work on it. Uh, so, since your surname is Gupta, maybe you are my chat GPT in a very different way. Thank you so much, and I shall see you soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Doctor. Bye.
Yes.